So, why did you choose to be a Black Studies major?
You were here. Okay, cool. So I chose to be a Black Studies major after I took Black Studies 1 with Dr. Lipsitz my freshman year, and it was an intro to African American Studies. And it was a class that I really didn't care about, but I just took it just because I thought, kind of want to learn more about my culture and myself. And after I took the class, I mean, it was absolutely mind blowing on how these subjects that we learned can actually be applied to real life situations. You know, other courses that I was taking, I could learn the information, but I wasn't being able to apply to it. And so what Black Studies did, and especially Dr. Lipsitz, was really honestly teach me a lot about different issues that can occur, different ways that the African diaspora has affected and influenced American culture, and how though we are a minority here, there's a lot of history of systematic oppression and ways that it's being affected on us today that we actually don't see it. And so Black Studies gives me that kind of eye opener, and I call it a curse and a gift at the same time, because I don't think if I was that major I would even know about these issues of today. And so it's definitely a gift to know that I can learn more about my heritage and my culture, but it's also a curse because now I really can't see anything the same anymore.
Why do you think it's Why do you think it's important to have a Black Studies department?
Great. So whenever you learned about history in elementary school, middle school, and high school, you never really got into depth about, what the repercussions of slavery has done and what that has done to modern times of today. So to have a Black Studies department in college, for me personally, one, I enjoy it, but two, I also think that we need more of that in high school, in middle school, to really understand the history that has happened in the United States and how that has affected Black people of today. For example, slavery has gone through all these systematic oppressions for both Black men and Black women through gender, beauty, jobs, voting rights, discrimination, housing discrimination. And one of them is also the prison industrial complex problem that we have. And so we call it the new Jim Crow. And so basically, there are more Black men and brown men in prison than there were enslaved decades before emancipation. And so we really need to understand how that has, become an issue here in the United States. And so having the Black Studies Department really, really understands and shows people that these issues are not done. We do not live in a post-racial society. Color and race is not colorblind. We see color. And these issues are still affecting Black people of today. And so we need that department to really demonstrate those issues and keep these issues alive, because they're happening every single day. And the more we don't think about them, the more we are perpetuating the problem of race.
Right. Do you prefer the terms Black or African American, and why?
So I've actually been battling with those two terms a lot, because sometimes I'll identify as African American, sometimes I'll identify as Black. And it's been a lot. I read a lot of articles that talk about why maybe folks think one is better than the other. The term Black for me encompasses everyone. We don't just have, Africans. We also have Afro-Caribbeans. We have people from Jamaica and Haiti. And so, having Black kind of encompasses all of those people. It encompasses the people who are born here, who have African ancestors. It encompasses the African immigrants who come from West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, North Africa. It encompasses people who also come from, like I mentioned, like Haiti and Jamaica and all that, in Brazil. It also encompasses people who maybe are mixed race. Now, the term African American can mean two different things for me. It could mean someone who is born in the United States and identifies with their African heritage, or someone who, was born in Africa, came to the United States, got their citizenship, and now identifies as African/American. I personally think it's a personal decision. So, me personally, I don't know what I pick. Sometimes I'll alternate between African American and Black, but as of this moment, I prefer the term Black. I personally don't like to identify as an American, so I like to keep it as the encompasses of Black. But when you say the word Black, it's apparent to understand there are multiple different versions of that, and I already explained those before.
So when they want to name the department Black Studies or African American Studies, like there's a lot of like debate about what it should be named. what do you think would be the more appropriate term?
I think Black Studies, just like I mentioned before, Black Studies encompasses many different types of ethnicities within the Black community. You like I mentioned, Afro-Caribbean. You have Africans from like African immigrants. You have folks who were born in Africa, first generation, second generation, who have African ancestors, and so to have it as just African American, you're completely kind of destroying the history of African folks. You're completely erasing Afro-Caribbean. You're erasing maybe other folks who don't identify as African American because they weren't born here. So Black encompasses all those different sub ethnicities that we have, and so I think Black Studies Department is a better idea because it encompasses all those different ethnicities. But everyone has their different opinion onto that.
Right. How involved do you think is the Black Studies Department in the fight for justice today?
Great. Yeah, so I think they're fairly involved. I'm involved in the Black Student Union here on campus, but I'm not entirely involved as it was last year, so I don't know how much they've involved in this year. But when I was involved last year, we had multiple meetings with the department chair about the different demands, BSU demands that we had. And one of our demands was definitely to add more faculty members, more Black faculty members. We also wanted to increase and have more Black psychologists, and we did. We ended up getting 2 Black psychologists. When it comes to social justice movements, when the Ferguson outbreak happened, a lot of media and a lot of promotion was happening through the Black Studies Department. We're sending out listservs, and BSU was doing a lot of events through Facebook and have people out there. A lot of Black Studies professors were there. And I think that's what I want to make really clear and apparent is that the department faculty themselves were very apparent with these issues. We had a discussion circle at Stork Plaza, and we had the department chair there. We had the undergrad advisor, Joseph Tapira, there. We had professors actually coming in and discussing with us and bringing this up in class. And that goes back to my first question, or the first answer that I had. Why did I choose this major? Is because the faculty members are so involved in, what's going on, because this major encompasses a lot of issues that's going on in the world today. And so they're very, 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 very active in supporting things that have to do with social justice.
When you look at the history of Black Studies departments in the country, UCSB was one of the most prominent schools in establishing the department. So how do you think the department has evolved since its inception?
Great. So I don't entirely know the difference that the Black Studies department has changed from the beginning to now. I do know that around 1960s we had about 6 or so Black identified students, part of BSU, that overtook North Hall and wanted to reclaim and rename the hall to Malcolm X Hall. And then also demand a Black Studies department and Black faculty. And I know from there on, about 1995, we also added the Black Scholars Hall. And so the difference that maybe the Black Studies department has done from the beginning until now is possibly becoming more involved in students and their needs, and definitely really focusing on curriculum that definitely tries to engage students more. A lot of the difference between the Black Studies courses that I've taken and maybe other courses that I've taken is that the Black Studies class really forces you to engage and really tries to help you understand the difference between a lot of issues that we have here in the United States. And there's a lot of critical thinking. And so I think that's something that they've been really focusing on, is a lot of critical thinking, because all these issues that happened, the Black Power movement and post-Reconstruction, all that stuff, it's still happening. It's just in a different version. And that's what Black Studies Department is really trying to focus on, is engaging those conversations and really helping you understand how that is being perpetuated in today's society.
Right. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. Awesome.
Is that it?